Hello and welcome back to my series on Stravinsky's Petrushka, specifically the Russian dance. So we've gone over the first three sections so far, and now it's time for section 4. Very obviously, we have ourselves an octave passage and then some difficult chords in the left hand. I actually want to start with the left hand because I find this to be the hard part. At least at this stage of learning, I find these chords incredibly awkward. Let's talk about how to practice these chords. We went through a 3-step process when I worked through the first section here of how to practice rapid chords. So I think I'm going to reprise that here. The 3-step process is predicated on the makeup of the hand, and specifically the fact that the thumb feels attached more to the radial side of the arm and like an extension of that bone, the radius. Whereas the others, I find, just practically speaking, feel a little bit more ulnar in orientation. So they come from different parts of the arm, these 4 fingers and the thumb. And when they have to play together, it's helpful to respect that division by practicing the thumb separately from the rest. And then playing kind of rotationally on the thumb. We think of the whole thumb, and the thumb is sort of dangling from the wrist as one big unit here. And then I just feel like it's really my arm bone, my radius, that's playing. And I train myself to play very lightly and to let the thumb kind of flop down. This is not what we're going to do in real life, but I just think it's really important to promote lightness in the thumb with chord playing and octave playing. And then for the rest of the chord, I think about playing kind of forward, but also closing the hand a bit as I play. I've heard this called like a chef's kiss. You bring the fingers together and the thumb, the idea is to achieve the most relaxed possible position of the hand after the chord is played. So that's the bottom of the chord. So you put those two things together. Thumb plays lightly like this, and then the rest of the chord plays like this. If you put those together, it looks like this. So I would go through and practice the whole thing that way. So on each of these kind of stretchy chords, I am cultivating a habit of bringing the fingers towards each other and letting the hand relax in between. And then I'm also cultivating a habit of feeling like the thumb is free throughout the whole process. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I find that often tension in chord and octave playing comes from the thumb side. So that is step 1. And when I put all of this together, it's like those two elements happen simultaneously. There's a natural sort of bounce to the movement. And the thumb performs the dropping action, and then the closing of the hand forms the bounce. If those things happen at the same time, it's like the drop to play the chord is also the bounce to get to the new chord. The two things happen simultaneously. So I do this, and I land on the next chord, and landing on the next chord is the drop, which can be simultaneous with the bounce to play the chord. I hope that makes sense. So it kind of feels like, what I really concentrate more is like the active up, which triggers a passive down. So it's like up, 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 up. So that each chord that I'm playing is producing the next one. So it feels like a series of ricochets. So this really helps with getting it up to tempo. And what you feel when it's faster is just, I'm very much in the keys. In this bounce motion, the drop and the release, it's very small. It feels like it's taking place inside the hand. But it's there, and it's very much producing each of these chords in a way that I can eventually play it very rapidly.